Hi, my name is Tom Ledoux and I am a candidate for the United States Senate from Maine. I want to talk to you for just a few minutes about some of my thoughts on healthcare. You can get more extensive information on tomledoux.com on this topic. A couple of months ago, in the middle of winter, I took a few hours off from the campaign trail and I took my children, my 4 daughters, sliding on a local hill. It was one of those things that we take for granted and do as often as we can, although during the campaign season, certainly not as often as we should have. In the midst of having some fun with my girls, just 15 or 20 minutes into our trip there, my daughter Catherine bounced off of her tube and slammed her face into a frozen hillside. It was a very bloody and traumatic accident, and we spent the rest of that afternoon and part of the evening in the emergency room. And it brought home several things to me. Certainly I've been very concerned about healthcare in the past, but it reminded me of how vulnerable those 47 million of our neighbors that don't have health insurance are. I've been blessed throughout my life always to have insurance, and my children always have, and I've never had to worry about financial ruin after or before going to a simple family activity like sliding. When we look at healthcare, we need to look at it through the lens of what the people who don't have health care must look through. And we need to look at it in very human terms, just like the experience that I had here with my children. 18,000 people every single year die as a result of not having health insurance and not having adequate care. These are our neighbors, okay, our friends, our relatives. They're people woven throughout society. This is a national crisis, and it's a national emergency. Imagine if 18,000 people in any corner of the country were killed by any one thing. Well, how we would respond. We need to look at our healthcare situation in the same vein. My approach to healthcare is two-tier, and it's just based on being as practical as we can, and based from the point of view of those families and individuals who right now are locked outside of this system. I believe first we need to do everything we can to take the system that we have, as imperfect as it is, and expand it so that everyone has access to it. We need to expand the children's health care program. We need to expand Medicaid and Medicare. We need to expand tax credits so that individuals and employers are able to either purchase insurance themselves or offer it to their employees. And that's very similar to several other plans that are out there. I believe that should only be step one. Concurrently with that, I believe we need to have a national dialogue and ask the question, what healthcare system would best reflect our ideals, would best support people's inalienable rights to go through their lives without having to worry about their health, about health care, about their health services. And there are many wonderful options out there. I believe we need to look very closely at a nationalized healthcare system, such as what exists in Britain or Canada, or other types of single-payer systems that exist, such as in France and in Germany. We need to realize that people, particularly in France and Germany, are more satisfied with their health care. The poorest citizens in those countries are more satisfied with their health care than the richest citizens in our country. There are other models out there that work great, that take the profit incentive to withhold care out of health care, and they focus on the needs of people. The result is that those countries are free of the burden of worry, they're free of the burden of reactive health care, and they're able to have preventative health care systems that work for everyone. I believe health care is an inalienable right. As your senator, I would work extremely hard to make sure that every single United States citizen has adequate and equitable access to health care every single day of their lives. Again, my name is Tom Ledoux, and I am your candidate for the United States Senate. I ask you to visit tomledoux.com, it's TOMLEDUE.com. I ask you to explore my candidacy there, to engage with our ideas, and I ask you to support the Citizens Campaign financially in any way you can. I ask for your vote on June 10th. Together, we can and will change the course that our country is on.